Two people are shown looking up toward the front of a large meeting table with laptops open in front of them. Figure 3. Many people use word processing software for a variety of purposes, such as writing a paper for an assignment or creating a report for a manager. Companies often use both Microsoft Word and Google Docs in the workplace. Credit modification of WO Tech Chat by Wasentech Microsoft 175/Flickr CC by 2. 0. Chapter outline 3.1 Navigating Microsoft Word 3.2 Formatting document layout in Microsoft Word 3.3 Formatting document content in Microsoft Word 3.4 Collaborative editing and reviewing in Microsoft Word 3.5 Document design 3.6 Navigating Google Docs 3.7 Formatting layout and content in Google Docs 3.8 Collaborative editing and reviewing in Google Docs 3.9 Versions and version history. You have been tasked with writing a market trends report on the manufacturing division of WorldCorp's consumer goods company, which produces products such as televisions and computer monitors. A market trends report summarizes the current status of an industry, details the major competitors and their market share, and provides some information on where the industry is moving. You are the main document editor, but you need to get information from other WorldCorp employees in different departments, such as the manufacturing and the accounting departments, as well as from international business statistics databases. Creating this report will require a considerable amount of collaboration and sharing of information, as well as layout and design skills, to make the final report look good. The process of creating this market trends report will require a thorough working knowledge of the program you are using to generate it. Microsoft Word and Google Docs are two of the more popular document preparation and editing software programs. Both programs have a distinct look and feel as well as their own advantages. Word is full of powerful tools that can be used across different fields, from education to accounting. In contrast, Docs, a free application, has more user-friendly and collaborative features. Offices around the world use both tools for different purposes. First, you will learn about Word and then Docs, building on the basics from the chapter on the essentials of software applications for business. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to identify the most commonly used tabs in Microsoft Word. Use the navigation pane. Microsoft Word is a sophisticated word processing application. It completely transformed the document creation process, replacing typewriters and existing word processing programs, such as WordPerfect and WordStar, with a user-friendly digital interface and hundreds of options for formatting. The comprehensive features allow users to easily adjust fonts and page layouts, insert graphics, track revisions, communicate collaboratively via comments, check spelling, search for text, and much more. Let's get started on our market trends report. As you learned in the chapter on essentials of software applications for business, you should first open a new blank document in Word. Using the default settings, type the following into the document: industry and market analysis. The laptop industry is growing at a rather slow rate, with sales expected to grow around 1% annually. Sales in the industry currently are over $20 billion. A large part of sales comes from consumer demand. There are several key players in the laptop industry. The largest companies in the industry in terms of consumer laptop ownership in the United States, market share, are HP, Dell, Apple, Acer, and Lenovo. Individuals can purchase a laptop at various price points based on the features, speed, and storage capabilities of the laptop. These companies also compete in the tablet industry, and some consumers might make the decision to choose a tablet over a laptop. There are also laptops that are considered convertible, meaning that they can be more like a tablet or a laptop with the screen feature that allows full rotation. You will use this text to build the framework for the Market Trends report as you move through the sections in this chapter and in subsequent chapters. Tabs. Word comes with a set of default tabs or menus, which are the interface for most of the functions and features you will use. Those tabs are File, Home, Insert, Draw, Design, Layout, References, Mailings, Review, View, and Help. Mac tip. These same tabs are on the Mac menu bar, but the menu bar varies when you are in Word. There is no File tab on Word's toolbar in Mac. The default tabs you see depend on the settings you have selected. They usually are Home, Insert, Draw, Design, Layout, References, Mailings, Review, View, and Tell Me. You can access Word preferences and settings via the taskbar at the top of the screen. Many of the features that are common among the tabs in Office were covered in the Essentials of Software Applications for Business chapter. In this chapter, you will learn more about how the tabs work in Word. You can customize your menu bar by adding or hiding tabs and by modifying the tools that appear on each tab. There are hundreds of commands you can choose from. The Word interface is highly customizable. Customization of the tabs was covered in the chapter on Essentials of Software Applications for Business. The next sections introduce some of the most important default tabs and their overall function, as well as the most used commands, as Figure 3. 2 shows Word Home tab options, File, Home, Insert, Design, Layout, References, Mailings, Review, View, Help. Each tab includes various command groups. Figure 3. To notice there are several tabs such as Home and Insert that are common to all Office programs, as covered in Chapter 2. Used with permission from Microsoft. Home tab. The Home tab is where you will spend most of your time, as it contains the formatting of fonts, alignment, headings, numbering, and lists, as well as the Find commands. It is also the default tab that displays when you open your document. We will go over the Home tab commands in detail in formatting document layout in Microsoft Word. Insert tab. The Insert tab is useful for adding certain material into your document. The Insert tab also allows the user to include elements such as headers and footers, page numbers, page breaks, and bookmarks. We will review using these features in more detail in the chapter on document preparation. Knowing how to use the Insert tab is particularly important for designing business documents, such as your World Corp Market Trends report. Your report will contain many pages and sections, as well as a table of contents and page numbers. It will also likely contain charts, graphs, and images, all of which need to be inserted into the document. For example, you could insert a chart of the top-selling TV screens by using the Charts drop-down menu, then add a callout or label explaining the chart by using the Shapes drop-down menu. Layout tab. The Layout tab is where you will configure your page setup. It includes commands for adjusting margins and the paper size, as well as options for shaping the text on the page with columns. The Paragraph command group is for adjusting the alignment of lists, body text, and objects such as pictures in your document. This tab also gives the user options for adding page breaks and line numbers. Review tab. If you are working with a team on your documents, you'll likely use the Review tab. This tab has a commenting function that allows users to add comments to a file and to respond to each other's comments, as also discussed in the Essentials of Software Applications for Business chapter. As Figure 3.3 shows, the Review tab contains the Track Changes feature, which is helpful when many people are taking turns reviewing and contributing to a document. When Track Changes is turned on, edits to the document appear underlined and in colored text. Each user's edits will be colored differently to easily distinguish input from multiple people. This is particularly helpful when documents go through several revisions and are reviewed by many people. The Market Trends report for World Corp is a team effort, requiring several people to contribute to the final product. You can expect that as the document is created and revised, comments will be used to help reach the final version of the report. The Track Changes process might feel familiar to you, as it is designed to mimic the act of marking up a paper document with a pen. You might have had someone work on your resume or mark up a homework assignment of yours, using a red pen to make suggestions and revisions on the document itself. In a Word document, comments and track changes serve the same purpose as using a red pen on a paper document. This process will be covered in more detail later in the chapter. The Review tab also has many commands that allow commenting and suggesting changes in documents that are used and edited by multiple people. Figure 3.3 shows 2 comments that users made by choosing the New Comment function. As people work on the document, they can read and respond to those comments, or remove them by clicking on them and selecting Delete in the Comments menu. There are also options in the Show Markup button found in the Tracking command group to display, or not display, formatting changes such as boldfacing or underlining. Show Comments and Track Changes tabs selected from Comments command group Review tab altered words are green, deleted words have strike-through. Review is highlighted. Speech bubble displays a comment followed by response. Figure 3.3. The Review tab in Word is helpful when multiple people are working on a document. It allows them to add comments and track revisions. The second comment is the lower one and is the reply to the one above it. Used with permission from Microsoft. Also on the Review tab, the proofing command group contains helpful tools that you will use often when writing and editing a document. You can check your spelling and grammar, look up words in a dictionary or thesaurus, and keep track of your word count. You will learn more about the Review tab and its features in formatting document layout in Microsoft Word. View tab. The View tab is useful for changing how you see your document. For instance, it gives you the option of looking at your document 1 or 2 pages at a time. You can also activate the zoom option from here, as well as add rulers and grid lines, which are helpful when placing objects such as a table or picture in the report you may be writing. You can also access the navigation pane in the View tab. You may also use the read, print, or web viewing modes when typing, which give you different ways of seeing your document, as Figure 3.4 shows. Zoom and multiple pages selected from Zoom command group, View tab. 2 pages of a document are visible in a row across the screen, zoomed out to fit on the screen. Figure 3.4. The View tab allows users to view documents in a variety of ways. The multiple pages selection shown here lets you see several pages at once. Used with permission from Microsoft. Navigation pane. The navigation pane serves various purposes. The navigation pane is accessed directly by checking the box on the View tab in the Show command group. You can also get the navigation pane by selecting Find from the Home tab. With either of these options, a pane will open on the left side of the screen. There are 3 tabs in the navigation pane: Headings, Pages, and Results. The first tab, Headings, is the first thing you will see when you open the navigation pane. This tab shows the outline of your document, but only if you have placed headings for each section and subsection, which you will learn more about in the section on formatting document content in Microsoft Word. The Pages tab shows a thumbnail representation of the pages of the document. The Results tab is used for searching for a particular word, phrase, or number throughout the document, as Figure 3.5 shows. You can always activate the Find function with the Ctrl+F keyboard shortcut. Mac tip. To activate the Find function on a Mac, press Command+F. Navigation pane selected, Show command group View tab. Navigation pane offers tabs, headings, pages, results. Group typed in search. Results displays sentences with word group highlighted. Document with group highlighted in yellow displays, Figure 3.5. The navigation pane is a sidebar that helps you move quickly from one section of your document to another, or locate a specific term or phrase through its search feature. Used with permission from Microsoft. Real-world application. What is a document? You will likely work in creating, editing, and consuming documents throughout your personal life and professional career. But what exactly is a document? Generally, a document is any type of file that contains information or transferred thoughts, ideas. While historically these documents were transferred to some type of paper or physical presentation on a chalkboard or displayed with an overhead projector, nowadays these are largely found in electronic format. However, when we are referring to a document with respect to Word, we are referring to a very specific type of file. This document file will contain primarily text and images that have been formatted and processed electronically. Hence, Word is a word processor, a type of program that contains a number of different text formatting capabilities for producing primarily text-based files and documents. This is an important distinction, as you can create any number of different text-based files in several different programs. There will be times when you may not have access to Word or another word processing program. Many computers and even some portable devices will come with a pre-installed basic text processing as part of their operating system. Notepad is one example. While you will not be able to format the text, not even bold, italic, or underline, you can capture basic text information and save it as a basic text file, TXT, to your computer. This can be useful for jotting down quick notes, hence the name Notepad. Then later, when you have access to Word, you can copy and paste the text from Notepad into Word, where you can format it and incorporate it into other documents if needed. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to format page setup and margins, create different types of sections, and modify section formatting. At WorldCorp, each major division represents a product line. All these divisions have their own functional departments, such as finance, marketing, manufacturing, research and development, R&D, and logistics. To write your report on market trends, you will need to get information on the products from these different departments. For example, the marketing department might provide sales data for a particular product, while the finance department can provide the profit made for each product sold. Practically speaking, this means creating a document that is readable and easy to use for everyone. Setting the page layout for your document in Microsoft Word allows you to present material in a way that maximizes ease of use. Page layout includes setting margins and page size, choosing the page orientation, introducing features like columns, and breaking up a document into sections so that different parts can have different formats applied. These functions can be accessed using the tools on the Layout tab, see Figure 3.6. Command groups in Layout tab include page setup, margins, orientation, size, columns, breaks, line numbers, hyphenation, paragraph left right indent, before after spacing, arrange, position, wrap text, bring forward, send backward, selection pane, align, group, rotate. Figure 3.6. The Layout tab has clearly defined drop-down menus and buttons for its page layout tools, used with permission from Microsoft. Page setup. The Layout tab contains commands and tools for adjusting the overall page setup of your document, located within the Page Setup command group. Page setup typically includes adjusting the paper size, margins, and orientation, as well as adding features like section breaks and columns. There are accepted standards for document formatting, but these can vary by target audience and by industry. For business reports, such as your Market Trends report, a 12-point font for body text, Calibri, Times New Roman, and Cambria are some popular fonts, and 1-inch margins on all sides, top, bottom, left, right, are typically standard. Most reports also have sections and section headings to help break up and organize the content. The line spacing in the reports can vary, but the most common spacing will be either single spacing 1:5 spacing or double spacing. Each of these elements has an important role to play in presenting the document to its audience, e.g., business professionals, as well as an impact on readability. Some fonts are easier to read than others or are more appropriate for a specific genre of document. You may use a style guide, a manual for consistent styling and editorial treatment, like the Chicago Manual of Style or the Modern Language Association, MLA style for published corporate reports, but many businesses do not strictly follow a manual of style for internal reports. For reports like your Market Trends report, it is usually left up to the employee or the supervisor to determine the best formatting and style for the report. For reports that will be distributed externally, such as at a conference, you should ask colleagues in charge of these events if they have formatting and style requirements for documents. It is important to keep the intended audience in mind when setting up the document. Real-world application. Style guides. Different industries will establish certain expectations around the types of documents that are typical of their field, as well as how these documents are formatted and presented. For instance, newspapers will use a certain type of font and use only certain types of formatting options. They will also define the paper size, margins, and how the content is laid out on the page. If you review a handful of different printed newspapers, you will find that each has a very specific style and that no two really look alike, although we recognize that they are newspapers because they share a subset of agreed-upon standards, such as page size. So too, will you find that your industry has a specific style, and in your studies you will be asked to adopt different writing and formatting standards. These are known as style guides or style manuals. Common ones you may encounter while in college are the APA, American Psychological Association, and MLA, Modern Language Association style manuals. However, others exist, including ones used in specific industries, such as the CSE, Council of Science Editors style used in biology and other sciences. These guides will define how documents should be formatted in their entirety, from font type to the general layout of pages, including margin width and line spacing. It is important to know that these styles are updated regularly. You will want to stay abreast of these updates. To make this easier, most major style guides such as APA and Chicago have websites that provide information about updates. To ensure that you stay informed, some of these websites offer subscriptions for information about updates. While Word does not come preset with these formatting requirements, you can create your own style sets, which you will learn more about in later chapters. What's more, there are many online resources that can help guide you in these formatting requirements. For instance, the reference or citation page tends to be a sticky spot for many students. There are several citation styles in the citation tool in Word. There are also many free online services that can help you create your reference list by inputting relevant information into guiding categories. They then generate your reference list for you. A word of caution: you should also review and verify if the produced content does align with the formatting requirements of that style. Styles do change and are updated, and these services do not always remain current. Margins. All pages in a document have a margin, a blank area from the edge of each side of the page to the content. Margins make a page more readable and in printed documents allow space for bindings, notes, and so on. You may encounter projects that need different margins on different pages or unconventional margins, that is, custom margins. To adjust the margins of a page, go to the Layout tab. Select the Margins icon and a drop-down menu will appear. The default margin is normal 1 inch on all sides, but this can be adjusted via the pre-populated options, such as for different layouts with narrower margins. If you want to set your own margins, choose the Custom Margins option at the bottom of the drop-down menu. In the dialog box shown in Figure 3.7, notice how you can adjust the margins to be various measurements. A. Margins opens to various margin options, custom margins selected. B. Page setup pane options, margins selected, paper layout, margins options include margins, orientation, pages, preview, and apply to, whole document selected. Figure 3.7, the Margins tab in the Page Setup dialog box lets you A. Choose from predetermined selections, or B. Create your own specifications through the Custom Margin dialog box. Used with permission from Microsoft. Orientation. Page orientation refers to whether the page is vertical or horizontal. The default in Word is the vertical layout, called portrait orientation. This layout works best for everyday text documents, such as business reports and correspondence. The horizontal layout is known as landscape orientation and works best for documents with tables and graphs that otherwise would not fit well on a vertical page. Using the orientation command in the Page Setup command group, you can alter the orientation of your entire document or also limit the changes to certain pages or sections. Figure 3.8 shows the two layout options. The Layout tab is selected, and in the Page Setup command group, the Orientation button displays a drop-down pane with Portrait and Landscape available for selection. Figure 3.8. Inserting sections in your document allows you to change the page orientation between sections. Used with permission from Microsoft. Line spacing. The space between lines of text as you move through the document is referred to as line spacing. You might be familiar with double spacing, which is often required when creating documents for a class assignment. However, the default in Word is single spacing. To change the line spacing, access the Line and Paragraph tool from the Paragraph command group on the Home tab, Figure 3.9. To change the spacing of text that has already been typed, select the text and change the line spacing to the desired spacing. You can also set the spacing before typing anything in the document. The line spacing can vary throughout the document. It does not have to be consistent. You can, at any point, change the line spacing by selecting the text you want to apply the different spacing to, and then selecting the spacing from the Line Spacing tool on the Home tab. But keep in mind the professionalism of the document you are preparing. It is not advisable to vary the line spacing throughout the document, as that can impact the readability of the report. It can also look as if you did not take care to ensure consistency in formatting when preparing the report. However, if you have a few sentences that need to stand out for some reason, such as a table caption or a block quote, having these elements set with a different line spacing might be appropriate. A. Line and paragraph spacing is selected. Listing spacing options, line spacing options selected. B. Paragraph pane selects indents and spacing tab. Various options are displayed for general indentation and spacing. Figure 3.9a, you can change the line spacing of a document by using the tool in the paragraph command group. B. There are additional options for indentation and line spacing by selecting line spacing options. Used with permission from Microsoft. Through the line spacing options tool, you can change the spacing before and after lines of text, the spacing before and after paragraphs, and the indentation of lines of text. Page size. Understanding page size is particularly important when working at a global corporation like WorldCorp. Different countries use different standard page sizes, and it is helpful to know how documents might vary across various company locations. For example, the United States uses standard letter size, 8.5 inches wide by 11 inches long, whereas Europe and East Asia typically use A4 size, 8.25 inches wide by 11.75 inches long. Similar to margin selection, when you select the size command, there is a drop-down list of default pages sizes, as Figure 3.10 shows. You can select from these options or choose to create a custom page size. Note that the size selections include materials other than standard pages, such as envelopes. Size is selected Layout tab Page Setup command group and lists options for selection, i.e., letter, legal, A4, executive, Japanese postcard, double Japan postcard rotated, envelope 10, envelope monarch, envelope DL, etc. Figure 3.10, you can select from a variety of predetermined page sizes for your document, or create a custom paper size if desired, such as for a poster or invitation. This figure shows the entire drop-down list as 2 panels, used with permission from Microsoft. Columns. You may be familiar with the column format in print media such as newspapers and magazines, where the text on a page is separated into multiple vertical columns. Sometimes columns are desired in specific types of Word documents, such as newsletters or brochures. They can also be useful if you have a long list of short terms and want to optimize page space by utilizing columns instead of having a large expanse of white space. Word has many options for creating columns. To do this, you can select a section of text, go to the Columns drop-down menu, and select from Common Column Layouts. Menu options include columns of equal size or options where there is one narrower column on the side of a wider column. If you want to customize a column to be of a specific width, or you want more than 3 columns in one page, choose More Columns. In Figure 3.11, you can see the options. The dialog box shows a preview of how the document will look. A line between the columns is possible, as seen in the dialog box. A. Columns button list options. 1, 2, 3, left, right, more columns selected. B. Columns pane offers options for presets, number of columns, line between, width, spacing, preview apply to start new column. Figure 3.11. A. More columns opens a window where you can customize their width and spacing. Columns are common in certain types of documents, such as newsletters and brochures. Used with permission from Microsoft. Working with section breaks. Sections in Word are especially useful for long documents. A section allows the user to partition part of the document, such as front matter, body text, and back matter, and apply different styles and formatting to each section, while still maintaining all the text in one document. Sections are also important when creating a table of contents and assigning page numbers in a large report. These concepts will be covered in more detail in the chapter on document preparation. The division of a document into front matter, body text, and back matter is more common in longer documents, such as extensive reports, booklets, and manuals. Front matter typically includes the title page, the table of contents, and prefaces or forewords. The body contains the main text of the document. The back matter may include appendixes, an index, a glossary, or references. Regardless of how you partition a document, having sections allows you to apply different styles to each separately, including page numbering, page orientation, and formatting. Consider an example where your document has a title page and a table of contents, and the main text begins on the 3rd page. You don't want a page number to appear on the title page, but you would like the main content to start on page 1. You can achieve this with a section break. First, go to the Insert tab, select Page Number, and add page numbers to your document. The market trends report is expected to be quite lengthy. Including page numbers in the World Corp Market Trends report will be essential to help readers navigate through the document to the areas that are of interest to their needs. To insert a section break, go to the Layout tab, click on the Breaks drop-down menu, and select the next page section break, as Figure 312A shows. This will start a new section on the next page. Then choose where you want your page number to appear. As Figure 312B shows, it will be on the bottom right. Then right-click on the page number in that new section and choose Start at 1 from the dialog box that appears. You can use this feature to apply different page numbering styles, such as using Roman numerals in front matter. A. Breaks option, page breaks and section breaks, next page selected. B. Page number options. Top of page, bottom of page, selected, page margins, current position, format page numbers, remove page numbers. Figure 312 section breaks, A, allow you to have different page formats for different areas of the document. Panel B shows that the number will be at the bottom of the page, used with permission from Microsoft. Another advantage to having different sections in a document is that you can accommodate different graphics well. This can be helpful when working with graphics that are best suited for landscape orientation, for example. As with the page numbering, you can change the orientation for a specific section. Figure 3.13 shows successive pages of a document with different orientations. Orientation in Page Setup of Layout tab is selected. Two document pages are visible on the screen, one in a portrait style thinner and one in an orientation style wider. Figure 3.13 inserting sections in your document allows you to change the page orientation between sections, used with permission from Microsoft. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to format font types, sizes, and styles. Modify paragraph styles in a document. Use headings for reader and internal organization. Adjust settings for how text and graphics flow together. You want your World Corp Market Trends report to look professional. To achieve this, you need to consider how the content should be formatted for its intended audience. Formatting applied to content includes line spacing, font type and size, alignment, and the use of organizational features like headers. Many employees in the organization, including those in upper management, will view the report, so you need the report to show your professionalism and skills in your role in the marketing department. Formatting font. There are many ways to change your text formatting in Microsoft Word. The most basic ways of adjusting your text are through the font size, and font style bold, italic, or underlined. The default Word font is currently Calibri. Formerly, it was Times New Roman and could change again. Fonts are described as either serif or sans serif, Figure 3.14. A serif font is one that has short lines on the ends of the parts of each letter, whereas a sans serif, without serif font, doesn't have those embellishments on the characters. Serif fonts are usually considered easier to read when there is a large amount of text being presented, and sans serif fonts are often considered to have a more contemporary look. For accessibility, simple fonts such as Arial are a better choice to accommodate all readers. Fonts that are curvy or more artistic in nature are difficult to read and decipher, particularly for people with vision-related impairment. However, curvy and artistic fonts may be used to attract attention and add flair to promotional materials, such as brochures. 6 different fonts are shown: Times New Roman, Cambria, Garamond, Calibri, Arial, and Tahoma, and represented at the right with all 26 upper and lowercase letters of the alphabet in those fonts. Figure 3.14. The top 3 fonts are common serif fonts, while the 3 on the bottom are sans serif. Note the differences in the lines on the ends of the letter strokes. Used with permission from Microsoft. You can select fonts using the drop-down menu within the font options on the Home tab. There are many fonts in Word, most of which are not appropriate for business reports because they are too ornate or decorative. You should think carefully about the type of font you want to use and what it will convey to its readers. You want to stay professional and avoid fun fonts like Comic Sans and Papyrus. Font choice also affects the readability of your document. Script-like or blocky fonts can be difficult to read, especially with long documents. Additionally, some fonts are more appropriate for headings or logos instead of the body of a report or document. Mag tip. Mac offers some fonts that are not included in the Microsoft OS version, and by default is missing some that can be added by downloading and loading the fonts into the application. To adjust the font size, go to the Font Size drop-down menu directly to the right of the Font menu on the Home tab. There are other ways to adjust the font in a selection in a document, but this is the most direct way to make the changes. The default font size is 12 point, but you may want to make your font larger or smaller. Most documents use fonts in sizes 10 to 12 point. For your market trends report, you will probably want an 11 or 12 point font for your main body text, and a larger size for your report title and section headings. You should ensure your font size is easily readable, especially if you plan to provide printed copies of your document. You can apply additional styles to your font, such as bold, italic, or underline, using tools in the Font Command Group, Figure 3. 15. There are also options for special text applications, such as adding superscripted text that is raised above the line and subscripted text that appears below the line, and changing font color. Additionally, you can easily change the capitalization style through the AA drop-down menu. This allows you to set a selection of text in all capitals, all lowercase, or to capitalize each word, such as is common in headers or titles. A bottom right corner of Font Command Group displays small arrow icon. When clicked, opens B font pane. Font tab options, font style size font color underline color effects preview. Figure 3.15a. The Font Command Group lets you select your font and font size, apply special treatment like bold or italic, and set case. Selecting the arrow A opens the dialog box B, where you can apply multiple formats at once. Used with permission from Microsoft. Formatting paragraphs. Paragraph formatting entails customizing the way the text appears on the page and how it flows from one paragraph to the next. Specifically, this includes line spacing, tab indentations, and alignment justification of text. As you learned in formatting document layout in Microsoft Word, line spacing determines how much space there is between the lines of text within a document. There are different advantages to single spacing versus double spacing. Most business documents, such as emails and printed letters, use single spacing. This means that each line of text comes right after the other with very little space between them. However, double spacing may be used in working documents and can be useful when there are multiple collaborators and you are using track changes. This allows for better visibility for the changes or edits and makes it easier to see the revisions in progress. Double spacing means that there is a complete line of space between lines. In addition to single and double spacing, users can use 1:5 spacing or set custom spacing between lines within a paragraph, Figure 3.16. You can also specify spacing between paragraphs, which is different from the line spacing within a paragraph. For example, you might want your paragraph single-spaced but want a visual break between paragraphs. A2. 0 is selected from line and paragraph spacing button. B paragraph pane displays tabs for indents and spacing selected and line and page breaks. Selections include general, indentation, spacing, preview. Figure 3.16. The paragraph command group offers a variety of line spacing options in A, a drop-down menu, or B, in more detail in a dialog box. Used with permission from Microsoft. Paragraph separation is typically indicated in one of two ways: by indenting the first line of the paragraph with a tab indentation as Figure 3.17a shows, or by adding a space between paragraphs as you can see in Figure 3.17b. In the latter case, the paragraph is usually not indented, as the space serves the same purpose as the indentation, i.e., to indicate a new paragraph. Most documents, including those used in business, have small 0.5 indentations at the start of each new paragraph as the default setting. If indentations are too small, they are difficult to distinguish, and large indentations can look awkward and confuse readers. A document is shown where the start of a paragraph is indented. B, a document is shown with a blank space between paragraphs and no indents visible. Figure 3.17 paragraphs can be indicated by A, a first-line indentation, or B, by spaces between paragraphs. The latter works well in documents where page count is not an issue, as it could make for a longer document. Used with permission from Microsoft. Paragraphs can also be formatted with different alignment or justification styles. Figure 3. 18. In documents, the most common alignments for the body of the text are left justified or fully justified. Left justified means that the text all lines up in a straight line along the left margin, but where text ends on the right margin varies. Fully justified text lines up in a straight line along both the left and right margins. This produces a clean and professional look and is often used in publishing or print materials. However, full justification can also lead to awkward gaps within lines of text if the material contains a lot of long words or specialized content. Determining which alignment is appropriate for a document depends on the audience. For example, if you submit your WorldCorp Market Trends report for publication in an industry journal, it should be fully justified. A document displays text lined up in a straight line along the left margin, with right margin varying. B document displays text aligned in straight lines at left and right margins. Figure 3:18. Most documents set the main text with either A left alignment or B full justification. Used with permission from Microsoft. Other alignment options include centering text and right alignment. Centering is often used to give special treatment to a particular element of content. Right justification is often used in financial data, where, for example, numbers align best if they align on the right. Headings. A heading helps readers understand the organization of a document by breaking it into meaningful chunks. Different heading levels can be used to create a hierarchy of content that also helps users best understand the material. In Word, headings can be set using styles that give them additional functionality, such as quickly displaying an outline of your document and providing the ability to link to or between sections. You can also generate a table of contents using headings. As an example, let's select 3 section titles from your Market Trends report. Let's say that the major sections of your report are as follows: Introduction, Executive Summary, Industry and Market Analysis, Competition, SWOT, Strength, Weaknesses, Opportunities, Threats, Recommendations, Key Findings. Summary. Open a blank Word document and type in the first 3 headings from the list above. For each header, select the text, go to the Styles command group and select heading 1 H1. H1 represents the top-level heading, which you might want to use for a title or a high-level section title. As you can see, the font size and the color changes automatically because you are selecting from the preset heading styles in Word. Repeat this formatting for your next 2 headings. If you open the navigation pane, you will now see that your 3 H1 headings appear in outline format, Figure 3:19. A. Styles command group displays heading options selected and reflected in document. B. Print layout and vertical tabs selected. Navigation pane heading tab lists headings in document. Selected headings in document visible. Figure 3:19. A. Headings serve as organizational signposts for a reader, collecting passages into sections and providing a hierarchy. B. Headings can also help you navigate documents. Used with permission from Microsoft. Heading hierarchies use the design of the heading to indicate levels of sections. The heading levels are usually referred to by numbers such as heading 1, and sometimes the shorthand H1, H2, H3 is used. Word's default heading styles are designed to have a logical and intuitive hierarchy, which typically includes font size and sometimes font style. In general, color should not be used to indicate levels in a hierarchy since this is neither logical i.e., it is not clear why one color would be higher or lower than another, nor accessible. Some colors are not readily conveyed to users who may be visually impaired or have other accessibility needs. Adjusting graphic and text layouts. If you are using graphics in your document, you will need to determine how the graphics and text should interact in the layout. When you insert a figure into a text document, the figure can be positioned in several ways in relation to the text using the text wrapping menu, as Figure 3:20 shows. Text wrapping refers to how the text is placed around an image or figure you place in the document. Text wrapping is accessed through the Layout tab in the Arrange command group. Your wrapping style may depend on the size of the graphic as well as its purpose. If it is an important figure being discussed in the text, or if it has a caption, you may want to clearly separate it from the text with the top and bottom option, allowing the text to flow above and below the image, but not to either side of it. If the image functions more as a design element, such as a logo or photo to add interest, you might have the text wrap around it. Layout pane displays tabs, position, text wrapping selected, and size. Wrapping styles are available for selection. In line with text, square, tight, through, top and bottom, behind text, in front of text. Figure 320, the wrapping style of how an image and text interact should be based on the purpose of the image. Used with permission from Microsoft. For example, let's assume you want to add an image of one of WorldCorp's products to the Market Trends report. As you may recall, WorldCorp sells products such as computer accessories, laptops, and TVs. When discussing trends in the laptop industry, you may want to include a picture of a laptop from a top-selling brand in the industry, such as HP. To insert the image into the report, place your cursor in the area of the report where you want the image. Then, copy and paste the image into the Market Trends report. Then, from the Layout tab, select the Wrap Text tool and select the appropriate text wrapping style to present a professional look for the inserted picture. The Wrap Text tool can also be accessed by right-clicking on the inserted image or figure, as shown in Figure 321. Image of a laptop is inserted at end of sentence. Layout Options pane displays options with images. In line with text wrapping, move with text, and fix position on page. Figure 321, the default when inserting a picture is to have the picture inserted where the cursor is located, in line with text. Used with permission from Microsoft. Notice that you can change the wrapping style using the tool that appears in the upper right corner of the image when you paste it in the document, Figure 322. Image of a laptop is inserted at right side of paragraph. With text wrapping, image in middle of text selected and move with text selected in Layout Options. Figure 322, you can choose to have the picture inserted with text wrapping blocked around the picture using square. Inserting the picture in front of text does not present a professional appearance as it hides some of the text. Used with permission from Microsoft. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to use the tools in the Review tab. Use the Editor tool. To put together the Market Trends report, you will need to gather information from several departments. This information will likely include past sales data, information about current major vendors and customers, and evaluation of the major competitors and other related content. To ensure the accuracy and integrity of the content, you want to have each department review the data specific to their sector. You also want to have the report reviewed by a peer colleague and your supervisor to ensure it is correct and of the quality expected. Word offers collaborative tools in the Review tab that make it easy to solicit, see, and implement feedback from other stakeholders. Review tab. The Review tab is vital for teamwork between collaborators of documents. Many documents are created in collaboration across functional departments, and each contributor to the document needs to record their changes and suggestions so others can review them. The Review tab also has several proofreading tools you might need for editing a document, such as a thesaurus. Proofing tools. As a student, you have probably been instructed to spell check your work before handing it in. Word offers spell check by simply selecting spelling and grammar on the Review tab. This tool will automatically check your spelling and grammar according to the dictionary and other language parameters in Word, which you can adjust from the default settings if desired. A dialog box will appear, and Word will give the option to accept or reject each of its corrections. It should be noted that spell check will not always check when a word is misused. For example, if you have typed for instead of for, spell check will not indicate a misspelled word. The document creator will still need to proofread the document and not rely entirely on the spelling and grammar check tool. Word gives its users many options for customizing their dictionary and language preferences. For example, you may frequently use the abbreviation e.g. in your business documents, which means exempli gratia, or, for example. If you don't add this abbreviation to your Word dictionary, it may be labeled as a spelling mistake. Id est is another Latin term you might see, which means that is to say. After you add these words to your dictionary, Word will stop flagging them as an error. Figure 323. The words id est are selected in a document. Open pane in front of the text lists spelling options and ignore all. Add to dictionary, selected, smart lookup, hyperlink, and new comment. Figure 3. 23. Adding regularly used new words to your dictionary will save you time when spell checking a document. Used with permission from Microsoft. Another language customization feature is setting the proofing language. Word comes with dictionaries for several languages, as well as a variety of English dialects, including British, Canadian, Australian, Caribbean, Singaporean, New Zealander, and American English. After you set your preferred dialect, Word will check your spelling and grammar according to that dialect. For example, if you choose American English as your preferred dialect, the spelling and grammar tool will mark the word favor as an error and suggest the American spelling favor. Comments. Comments are used for calling attention to any content in your document that you want to solicit input on or note for yourself. You can also use comments to flag spelling or usage queries, provide instructions to others reviewing your document, remind yourself to address something later like adding a graphic or fact-checking a statement, or ask questions about the content. To add a comment, select the segment of text in question and then select New Comment from the Review tab, as shown in Figure 324. You can then type within the comment and click the arrow when you're done to make sure the comment sticks. Show Comments is selected in Comments command group. The words New Comment are highlighted and a speech bubble is visible. A comment box displays name of commenter, comment, date, and reply box. Figure 3. 24 comments can be used to communicate collaboratively within a document or to add notes to yourself. Used with permission from Microsoft. When working in a document with comments, you can reply to any comment to add additional information or start a dialogue about a specific item. Once comments are addressed and are no longer needed in the document, you can either delete or resolve them, as Figure 325 shows. Deleting a comment removes it completely from the document, whereas resolving a comment retains the comment in a history stored digitally with the document. The word across is highlighted and a speech bubble is visible. 3 dots in the comment box open to options for delete thread and resolve thread selected. Figure 3. 25 comments can be either deleted or resolved when they are no longer needed. Used with permission from Microsoft. In a collaborative business document like your market trends report, you may find that another collaborator added content that was not ideal. The next collaborator or editor in the process could flag this content with a comment and send the document back to be revised. When the collaborator is done making the changes, you or they can resolve the issue. Tracking changes. The shared effort of writing a document across departments and functions is achieved through the Track Changes tool on the Review tab. Once turned on, this tool literally tracks the changes a user makes to a document, using a different color to highlight each user's edits. Once the document is saved and passed along to the next collaborator, that next user can clearly see what has changed from the original document. This makes collaborating on a document asynchronously, that is, not at the same time, easy to do. Sometimes you might work in a document that goes back and forth between you and 1 or 2 colleagues, and you review each other's changes and resolve comments at each pass. In other cases, all feedback may be collected and processed by one person. In the latter situation, after all collaborators have added their inputs to the document, a final author decides what changes are going to be kept for the final draft. This person might be a project manager or higher-level editor, depending on the workflow and organization of your company's editing process. This type of editing cycle, sending documents to various stakeholders for revisions and/or input, is common in many industries. An editing cycle may repeat multiple times before the document is finalized. Using track changes and comments allows for many iterations of the editing cycle, all while maintaining clear version history and control. The tracking command group offers options for which changes or markups are shown. You can toggle between no markup and all markup to see tracked and clean versions of a document, Figure 326. The show markup selections allow you to turn off formatting revisions so you can focus more easily on content changes. There is also an option to turn on/off feedback from specific reviewers. These possibilities are helpful when you have a document with a lot of markup and want to focus on one area of input in particular. A. Display for review option lists all markup selected from dropdown. B. Show markup option lists specific people selected and opens to selected options for all reviewers and a list of names. Figure 326. A. Users can adjust how much markup they see, as well as B. What types or markups are shown and which reviewers' feedback is displayed. Used with permission from Microsoft. Collaborators or a final author have the option to accept or reject each change that has been tracked. While reviewing changes, you can hover over any individual edit to see who made the edit and when, as shown in Figure 3. 27. The Changes command group on the Review tab has the option of accepting or rejecting the various tracked edits as they are reviewed. You can also select to accept all changes in the document without reviewing them individually. A. Words display with a strike-through followed by replacement words. Window displays with name, date, time, and the words edited. B. Accept this change is selected, making the change in the document. Figure 3. 27. A. Track changes tells you who made a revision and at what time, and B. lets you accept or reject each suggested edit. Used with permission from Microsoft. Real-world application. Resume peer evaluation. A resume is a summary of your work experience that you use when applying for a job. You might not have a resume at this point, but you will probably need to create one in the near future. One option is to start with a template that you find online or in Word or Google Docs and create one on your own. However, you might consider starting at the Career Services office at your college. The career counselors in that department can help you craft a professional resume for your job search. You will first be asked to develop a list of your previous jobs and the responsibilities that you had while working in those positions. Then, the career counselor will ask about what type of job you are looking for now and your career goals in general. All of these aspects will be reflected in the resume you develop. The next step will be to create a first draft of your resume. The counselor will likely give you some tips and maybe even a couple of examples to reference when creating your resume. You can expect that your resume will go through several edits and evaluations before you have a final product. Both Word and Docs have the tools you need to get feedback on your resume drafts from the Career Services department. You can share the file with others and have them insert comments or make revisions to your resume. Through the tools and the programs, you are able to see revisions made, who made the revisions, and respond to comments. The collaboration tools in Word and Docs make it easy to get feedback so that you can create a polished resume to help you secure the perfect job. Protect. If you do not want certain collaborators to change a document, you may configure your document so that future readers of a document can change only certain components. In the Protect command group on the Review tab, select Restrict Editing. This will offer two types of restrictions that you can set, as Figure 328 shows. The first, formatting restrictions, lets you specify which elements of a document can be edited, see Figure 3. 29. For example, you might allow editing only to the main text and not allow it to headers or tables. The second option, editing restrictions, limits the level of editing others can do, from none to commenting only to only tracked revisions. Those restrictions can be further customized to allow different restrictions for different users. Restrict Editing is selected Protect command group. Restrict Editing pane lists options: 1. Formatting restrictions, 2. Editing restrictions, and 3. Start enforcement. Figure 328 document protections can be added by restricting editing to certain components of a document or to limited levels of editing. Used with permission from Microsoft. A. Formatting restrictions options selected. Limit formatting to a selection of styles. Checked styles are currently allowed. B. Editing restrictions options selected. Allow only this type of editing in the document, no changes. Figure 329. A. Formatting restrictions can get quite detailed. However, they're important to set to keep your document's style from becoming inconsistent. B. Editing restrictions for other users can range from allowing others to work freely to work and track changes, or to read only and not make any changes. Used with permission from Microsoft. Backtib. Protect menu options on a Mac also include password protections, document review protections, and privacy. There is also a menu button for always open read-only. Editor tool. The editor tool in Word adds another level of document support with a more comprehensive editorial review. Essentially, it is like a virtual editor, which goes beyond simple spelling and grammar checking. The editor tool is on the Home tab and can also be found on the Review tab. Simply click on the icon and it will review your document and provide a report and score. You can set the editor to review for formal writing, professional writing, or casual writing. The editor tool will check for spelling and grammar errors, as well as potential improvements, providing an explanation of the issue and a suggested revision, Figure 3.30. In addition to spelling and grammar, it will check for clarity, conciseness, formality, punctuation conventions, inclusiveness, vocabulary, conciseness, clichés, and many more. In fact, the editor tool checks for over 150 different issues with readability in documents. For each item, it will give a rationale and suggested improvement that you can accept or reject. Word differences is highlighted in document. Editor pane opens with grammar heading, paragraph displays with the word differences underlined with blue font. A suggestions heading follows with differences in bold font. Figure 3.30 editor will provide explanations and suggested revisions for errors of spelling, grammar, clarity, inclusivity, conciseness, and more. Used with permission from Microsoft. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to apply themes and styles to a document. Use the page background command group. When creating your WorldCorp Market Trends report, you may choose to use custom formatting or existing formatting to add styles to your document. You can achieve this via the options on the Design tab, by using existing templates in Microsoft Word, or through combining those options to customize a template. Some companies may have existing templates with logos, fonts, or colors that are part of the company brand. The Design tab offers many options for quickly changing the graphical formatting of your document, applying styles across the entire document so you do not have to manually make each change. You can change the color scheme, fonts, and paragraphs, either manually or using the themes and styles in Word. You may also opt to use a template. Templates are predestined documents for a variety of purposes, including reports, resumes, flyers, invitations, posters, and more. The advantage of a template is that it already has a design applied. However, you need to ensure the template you select is appropriate for your audience and purpose, and that your content will fit well in the template. Using styles and themes. Your supervisor has suggested that you apply a theme to the WorldCorp Market Trends report. A theme is a cohesive set of fonts, font sizes, and colors that can be applied to your whole document. However, before you apply a theme to your document, you must code your document's style. Styles are preset formatting for font type and size, line spacing, and other formats that are used to change the appearance of text in a document. Generally, you choose the style for the document before beginning to input the text. By choosing the style, you are coding the document so that Word knows how to format various sections. These codes tell Word which parts of the text are body text, titles, subtitles, and so on. Without these style codes, the theme won't know how to apply itself to your document. Styles pane. Before you can implement styles, you first must label or code all the styles in your document. This means selecting parts of the text and using the Styles pane on the Home tab to identify them. For example, all body text must be selected and the normal style applied. All headings must be labeled as Heading 1, Heading 2, and so on. Once all your text has a style applied, then you will be able to use the themes and styles to full capacity. You can change the default fonts and font styles in the Styles pane, as Figure 331 shows. For example, if the default normal font is Times New Roman, you may want to change it to Calibri. Then, when you select a segment of text and choose the normal style, it will make the font Calibri, not Times New Roman. In effect, you are telling the program what you consider as normal text font in this instance. Styles command group displays options. Normal 0 is selected. Styles pane lists options for selection. Footer, Heading 1, Heading 2, Heading 3, Heading 4, Heading 5, Heading 6, Normal 0 selected, and Subtitle. Figure 331, the Styles pane allows you to assign each part of a document a functional style, which can then coordinate with Word's existing themes. Hovering over each style choice will reveal the changes to the text block in which you have placed your cursor. Used with permission from Microsoft. This is the manual way of applying styles. But the real power in using styles is to simply use them as identifiers for your text so that themes can read and style the text properly. For example, it wouldn't matter if you chose Calibri as your normal font style. If you select the Madison theme, for instance, the new normal font will automatically change to Arial because that is what comes with the theme. Different themes have different normal font settings. To see what font a theme uses, you will need to select the theme and see the fonts it uses. Now, let's explore how to apply a theme and why it works so well with styles. Applying themes. Let's revisit the different headings of the Market Trends report we worked on in formatting document content in Microsoft Word. Go to the Design tab and select the drop-down menu called Themes. You'll see that there are over a dozen default themes built into the software. Figure 332. As an exercise, choose the Ion theme for your document. Selecting Ion changes all the available styles in your document. If you want to further change the theme, you can change the color scheme using the Colors menu on the Design tab. There are many different color palettes to choose from. Word offers these preset palettes because designers have determined that the colors work together well to give documents a cohesive, professional appearance. Themes button is selected from Design tab. Pane with various color palettes for selection is open, followed by options for Reset to Theme from Template, Browse for Themes, and Save Current Theme. Figure 332 Word offers a variety of themes, each with its own set of fonts, colors, and styles. Used with permission from Microsoft. You can change the colors and fonts associated with the selected theme by choosing the menus on the Design tab. Choose the green color group and Arial font and apply it to the report. When you change the color and font, all headings and titles of the section will change in one step. There is no need to select each heading one by one because you already coded your document with the correct styles before you applied the theme, so the theme knows which text is which type of heading, and so forth. In the template, the current font of the normal text is Corbel. By selecting the Fonts drop-down menu, you can change all of the normal text and/or headings font. Go to the bottom of the drop-down Fonts menu and select Customize Fonts. A new dialog box will appear with all the fonts installed in Office, as seen in Figure 333. Choose a new font and select Save, and the headings will be changed. A. Create new theme fonts pane options, heading font, body font, sample with preview of font choice, name. B. Document displays text in Casteller font with the same green hues for heading. Figure 333 You can modify the fonts in components of a theme, such as headings, and they will change from A, the default font associated with that theme, to B, the customized font you select to apply. Used with permission from Microsoft. Page Background Command Group. The Page Background Command Group on the Design tab allows users to apply a page border, page colors, and watermarks. A watermark is a lightly colored image, logo, or text that exists in the background of the document. Like changing the page background color, adding a watermark will apply to the whole document. Some companies choose to use watermarks to indicate the status of a document, e.g., draft, or to imprint their company name on each page of the document. To insert a watermark, select the watermark icon and choose Custom Watermark, as you can see in Figure 334. As an example, let's add a watermark to the Market Trends report to indicate that it is a private, internal document. Type Confidential into the Custom Watermark dialog box and have it run diagonally across the page. There are a few options to alter the text's appearance on the page. For instance, if you want to change the text to be less visible, choose Semi-Transparent. You can even use an image like a company logo as a watermark. Watermark button is selected. Confidential pane displays 4 options for placement of confidential. Do not copy words in various position in background of document. More watermarks, custom watermarks, and remove watermark options follow. Figure 334 You can insert customized watermarks such as company logos using the custom watermark option. Used with permission from Microsoft. In the document, the word confidential is seen written behind the text diagonally across the page in a pale gray color. Figure 335 Watermarks are used to display letters or images on the page background. Used with permission from Microsoft. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to describe the major features of Google Docs, understand how to create a Google Doc in Google Drive. WorldCorp uses both Microsoft Office and Google Docs to conduct its daily business activities. These activities are with both internal and external groups. For example, you might be sharing confidential sales data with the internal marketing department at WorldCorp, but also share a version of the same information with less data to external vendors. Both programs offer advantages. Microsoft has decades of being the industry standard in word processing, spreadsheets, and presentation software, while Google offers a user-friendly design and collaborative features. In this section, you will revisit your market trends report using Docs instead of Microsoft Word to create it. You will see how Docs is different from Word and how to use it to your advantage. Menus. What tabs are to Word, menus are to Docs. In Word, the tools we use to prepare documents are arranged in tabs and then in command groups within those tabs. In Docs, the tools are arranged in menus instead of tabs. There are some similarities between the names of the menus and tabs. For example, you have the Insert tab in Word and the Insert menu in Docs. Docs also has a nice, user-friendly feature in which the tools that are used more frequently, such as some of the alignment tools and the font tools, are on a toolbar under the menu. This toolbar is called the Action Bar, and it is a static menu bar. It doesn't change, like Word's ribbon. This keeps those tools handy so that it is faster and easier for the user to change items in the document. Many of the tools on the Action Bar are similar to what you will find on the Home tab in Word. The menus in Google were covered in more detail in the Essentials of Software Applications for Business chapter, which discussed the essentials of the Google programs. Edit menu. This menu is similar to the Edit menu in Word. Looking at Figure 336, you can see that this menu has commands such as Select All, Undo, Redo, and Find and Replace. As in Word, the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Z will undo the last action you took, while Ctrl+Y is the opposite. It redoes what you have undone with Ctrl+Z. Mactib. On a Mac, these commands are Command+Z and Command+Y, respectively. Anytime a Control+ function is used on a Windows computer, the corresponding function key on a Mac will be the Command key. Paste without formatting is a useful tool for copying and pasting text only, without any of the source formatting, such as font, font size, or color. This is particularly helpful when copying and pasting from an email or website. Google Doc titled Market Trends Report Draft. DOCX is open, Edit tab is selected. The drop-down pane includes Undo, Redo, Cut, Copy, Paste, Paste without formatting, Select All, Delete, and Find and Replace. Figure 336. The Edit menu has the standard copy, cut, and paste commands. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. View menu. The View menu contains tools for looking at your document in different ways. It lets you see the file in 3 different modes: editing, suggesting, and reading. It also gives the user options for things to toggle on and off, such as the ruler and section breaks. The document outline found in the View menu, Show Outline, is similar to the navigation pane outline view in Word, Figure 337. Showing the equation toolbar will let you add math notation. Show Section Breaks allows the user to see where their document sections begin and end. Lastly, the full screen view is a view of the document that increases the window size to fit your whole screen. You won't see the Windows Start menu or your toolbar, and the window borders are seamless. Google Doc is open. View tab is selected with options: Mode, Text Width, Show Print Layout selected, Show Ruler selected, Show Outline, Show Equation Toolbar, Show Selection Breaks selected, and Full Screen. Figure 337. The View menu gives the user different options for how to view the document. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Insert menu. The Insert menu has many tools and features that are available in Word, yet in Word, these commands are distributed throughout different tabs. Inserting images, graphs, or tables works the same way in Docs as in Word, but inserting drawings is unique to Docs. With Docs, you can choose to insert a drawing and either make a drawing on the spot or insert a drawing that is already saved in Google Drive. From the Insert menu, you can also add conventional document features such as footnotes, headers, page breaks, bookmarks, and special characters. Figure 338. There is also a way to insert math equations using the equation command. You will find some differences between the programs and how they deal with such features. Google Doc is open. Insert tab is selected with options. Image, table, drawing, chart, horizontal line, emoji, smart chips, dropdown, footnote, building blocks, special characters, equation, watermark, headers and footers, page numbers. Figure 3. 38. The insert menu's central function is to add objects and document features to the document. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Format menu. The format menu shown in Figure 3. 39 is the source for formatting text, paragraphs, indents, line spacing, columns, and lists. The page's headers and footers, numbers, and horizontal or vertical canvas are also formatted here. As with Word, the user needs to select the text area that they want to change, and then select the tool needed to modify it. Additionally, tables that were inserted using the tools in the Insert menu can be further stylized to a professional look using the formatting tools available here, such as adjusting cell shading, cell borders, and font. Format tab options available: text, paragraph styles, align and indent, line and paragraph spacing, columns, bullets and numbering, headers and footers, page numbers, page orientation, table, image, borders and lines, clear formatting. Figure 3. 39. The format menu contains all the tools for modifying the text or whole document. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Tools menu. The Tools menu has some interesting features that Word doesn't have, such as the Explore command. The Explore command is a unique feature in the Google suite of programs that uses machine learning to offer suggestions and predict what information you might need as you are creating files. For example, the Explore command lets you search the web for the citations you have but need to complete, or references that you don't have and want to find. It can also suggest other docs and sheets that you own or are shared on that may be referenced or connected to your current document. The Explore command can also suggest images that might be connected to what you are currently working on. These images can be from your files or from images on the web. Both citations and references will be formatted in the manual of style of your choice, APA or MLA, for instance. The tools for checking spelling and grammar and word count function in a similar way to Word. You will learn more about the Explore command in collaborative editing and reviewing in Google Docs. Docs also contains a tool for tracking changes, similar to Word's track changes. This tool, available through a drop-down menu in the top right of the document window, allows the user to choose between editing normal editing of your own document, suggesting tracking your changes, and viewing view only, as shown in Figure 3. 40. The editing button is selected in a Google Doc and lists editing edit document directly, suggesting edits become suggestions, and viewing read or print final document as options for selection. Figure 3. 40. Track changes or suggesting is accessed not from a menu but from a drop-down menu on the right side of the document screen. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Through the Tools menu, Figure 3. 41. You can choose Review Suggested Edits, which allows you to view the suggested edits one by one and choose whether you'd like to accept or reject them. The Tools menu also contains the Preferences window, which offers some of the general settings for your documents, such as whether to use smart quotes and auto-capitalization. In Word, the preferences are contained in the File menu, which is covered in the chapter on Essentials of Software Applications for Business. Google Docs Tools tab is selected with options. Spelling and grammar, word count, review suggested edits, compare documents, citations, linked objects, dictionary, voice typing, notification settings, preferences, and accessibility. Figure 3. 41. The Tools menu contains some tools for proofreading and collaborating in groups. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Creating a doc. We are going to begin by creating our market trends report, starting with industry analysis information. The most direct way to create a new doc is to log into your Google Drive. Once you are in the Drive, you can create a new doc by selecting the new plus sign, as discussed in the chapter on Essentials of Software Applications for Business. Then, choose Google Docs from the list. This will automatically open a new window with a blank document. You could also hover over the arrow to the right of the Google Docs icon and choose Blank Document or from a template to create the new file. As an alternative, once in your Drive, you can create a new document by selecting the Google Apps icon, as Figure 3. 42 shows. This will open a drop-down menu and you will choose which app to access. In this case, that would be Docs for the Google Word Processor application. A new tab will appear in your browser with the Docs. Here, you can choose to open from recent documents or create a new document either by a template or an entirely new file by choosing blank. If you select the first icon, blank, Docs will open a blank canvas, similar to how Word opens its blank documents. You can also create a new document using a template. There are many kinds of default templates in Docs' template gallery, including resumes, letters, project proposals, work notes, brochures, newsletters, legal agreements, and several educational document templates, like essays, reports, class notes, and lesson plans. A plus new selected in Google Drive and opens to pane with options for B, new folder, file upload, Google Docs selected, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms, and more. Figure 3. 42. A choose plus new to create a new file type in your Google Drive. B. Notice you can also use this menu to create a new folder or upload a file that is already created. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to modify document formatting, create different types of sections, modify the page setup. Your market trends report is coming along in Google Docs. In this section, you'll learn how to format it and modify the page setup, similar to the way we modified the document in Microsoft Word. We are starting with the same information that we used in the previous sections, and instead now learning how to format the document using the tools in Docs. This will give you first-hand experience with the differences and similarities between the two programs. You will also learn that Docs, like Word, has the ability to include section breaks, and each section can have different formatting if needed. Document formatting. There are different key formatting options that you can do at the start of each document, such as set the paper size, normal text font, line spacing, inserting columns if desired, and more. You can also select the title text of the headings and insert sections. The indent options and margins are important, too. You can certainly change these items at any point in the document creation process, but by thinking through some of the formatting at the beginning, you can make using additional tools, such as inserting a table of contents, a bit easier. Determining some formatting choices at the beginning can help with collaboration and readability as you work toward a final document. Formatting fonts and modifying styles. To modify the font in any way after you have typed in the document, you first must select the text you want to format, then either use the commands in the window menus or with icons and tools in the action bar. As Figure 343 shows, you can select a word and then use the action bar to change the font type, make another word bold, and make another word larger. You can also select a word and use the format menu to change it. A. The bold button is selected on a toolbar. In the document, the word industry is highlighted blue and bolded. B. The format tab is selected, then text, then bold. Figure 3. 43 font formatting can be done through A. The action bar or B. Through the format menu. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. The drop-down pane lists these items for selection. Styles also have a similar function in Docs as they do in Word. The styles code your document so that it is easier to apply formatting throughout. Docs comes with a set of default styles like normal text, title, and subtitle, but these can be customized using the options choice at the bottom of the style combo box. Applying a style is critical for applying custom fonts and colors to a document. It is also essential when creating an outline or table of contents for your document. In Figure 3. 44, you can see how to change the style from normal text to heading 2. First, you select the text, then go to the action bar to select the style type. Normal text selected opens to a pane of various font selections. Heading 2 is selected and opens to apply Heading 2 and update Heading 2 to match. Heading is applied in document. Figure 3. 44. The drop-down styles menu gives the user a preview of what the different available styles look like. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. As you can see in Figure 3. 45, the text style has changed. The heading text was also added to the document outline on the left. This is an important feature of styles in Docs. As you continue to apply styles within a hierarchy, the outline in the document pane will reflect that hierarchy. For example, you can see that industry and market analysis is now listed on the outline as a heading. This can be particularly useful when managing long documents, which document preparation covers. OpenPane lists summary and outline with industry and market analysis under outline circled. At document right, industry and market analysis is highlighted gray and in a larger font and bolded. Figure 3. 45 Formatting text as a heading means it gets automatically outlined in the document pane. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Formatting spacing, indentation, columns, and lists. Changing the line spacing in a doc is quite simple. You can easily change a whole paragraph's line spacing without having to select the whole paragraph. Just put your cursor anywhere in the paragraph and go to the Format menu and hover over line spacing. Then choose the spacing you want, figure 346. Format is selected and open to pane of options. Line spacing is selected and opens to single selected and prevent single lines selected. Figure 346. The line spacing formatting options give the user more options than the standard paragraph line spacing. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Notice that you have the option to add a space before a paragraph or remove a space after a paragraph. When you are constructing a long document, it might help the readability in long blocks of text to add some extra space in between the paragraphs. This tool will allow you to add that line space either before or after. Docs also makes aligning and indenting text simple. As with modifying the line spacing, you can place your cursor anywhere on a single paragraph and adjust the alignment for the whole paragraph. You can either choose an indent from the action bar or go to the Format menu, then hover over Align and Indent, then choose how you want to align the paragraph. If you want to align many paragraphs, just select them all together with the mouse and then follow the same steps. To indent a body of text, the first line of the selection is indented to the right 5 spaces, which is the convention for indenting the first line of a paragraph. To do this indentation, press the Tab key on your keyboard. But if you want to move the entire paragraph to the right, click anywhere in the paragraph and go to the Format menu, then hover over Align and Indent, and lastly, select Increase Indent, figure 347. Increase or decrease indent can also be used to create tiers within lists like bullets and numbers. This creates a hierarchy of bullets or numbers in your list, figure 348. Format is selected and opens to options. Align and Indent is selected, which lists options for left, center, right, justified, increase indent, decrease indent, and indentation options. Figure 347. You can choose indenting from the Format menu to indent selected text. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. On the toolbar, Align and Indent is selected. The text HP, Dell, Apple, Acer, and Lenovo typed in a list is indented to the right at the bottom of the document. Figure 348. Only the selected text is indented over to the right. The rest of the text remains left aligned. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Docs also makes it easy to create and format columns with a single click. To quickly change the text to be set in 2 or 3 columns, as in a newsletter or email advertisement, just put your cursor anywhere on the text. Go to the Format menu, hover over Columns, then choose the number of columns you desire, figure 349. You can do this in the Format menu as well. You do not have to do anything like selecting the whole section or document because the column formatting will apply to the section or paragraph you are in. If you want to apply it to multiple paragraphs, you will need to manually select those paragraphs. For the WorldCorp Market Trends Report, let's try 2 columns for the 2 paragraphs in the Industry and Market Analysis section. This might make sense if we want to add a chart or a table of data below the text. Begin by selecting the body text that you want to format. Then, go to the Format menu using the steps outlined above and place the paragraphs into 2 columns. It should now look like figure 350. Format is selected, then columns from the options. Columns opens to images of a document with 1 column, 2 columns, or 3 columns respectively available for selection. More options is listed also. Figure 349. Formatting text into columns adds more space below the text for additional items in the document, such as images or charts. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. The text in the document is separated into 2 columns. Figure 350 50. The columns present a professional look with the alignment of the text. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Lastly, let's review the bullets and numbering tool. This tool has many useful applications in business and in personal documentation. It is used to create lists in your document. To show how useful lists can be, see the unformatted chunks of text in Figure 3.51. The text is unorganized and hard to read. Format is selected, then bullets and numbering, the options for list options, numbered list, bulleted list, and checklist. Numbered list is selected and the pane on the right shows options for lists. Figure 3.51 lists are used for visual appeal as well as organizational purposes. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. To make this text into a bulleted or numbered list, select all of it, go to Format, hover over Bullets and Numbering, then hover over Numbered List or Bulleted List and choose one. Figure 3.52 shows what the content would look like if you had chosen bullets. Alternatively, for new text that has yet to be typed, you can use the action bar and choose your list type first, then type the text desired. Bulleted list is selected. The pane displays 6 options for lists with varieties of shapes: black circles, black squares, stars, arrows, and circled diamonds as the bulleted points. Figure 3.52 bulleting text is preferable in professional documents when you have lists of items that you want to call out without numbering them, which could convey a hierarchy or steps. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Working with section breaks. Adding sections to your document is important for formatting headings and creating the table of contents. To add sections in a doc, place the cursor where you want the section to begin, then go to the Insert menu and look for the break command group. Select Section Break Continuous if you want the break to stay on the same page, or Section Break Next Page to start a new section on a new page, such as starting a new chapter. Let's practice using the continuous section command with our market trends report. Recall from earlier in this chapter, the major sections of a market trends report are as follows: Introduction, Executive Summary, Industry and Market Analysis, Competition, SWOT, Strength, Weaknesses, Opportunities, Threats, Recommendations, Key Findings, Summary. Add the remaining headings into the doc and be sure to format the headings as you did previously using Heading 2. Add the headings in the order in which you see them here. You do not have to worry about the alignment at this point, as we are just working on getting the sections defined. As Figure 3.53 shows, if you insert a section before each heading, you can visualize the headings on the left document outline pane. As you insert a continuous section break, Docs automatically moves your text further down, about 2 lines, as you can see with the heading Competition. You can now change the format of each separate heading, as each is its own section. Continuous section breaks are useful when you want to rapidly change one section's format and not have to manually select the entire section's paragraphs. Sections can also be used to have different headers and footers, page numbers, and margins than the rest of the document. They can also be helpful to break up the monotony of reading a long document. Insert is selected, then Break is selected and opens to options for Page Break, Column Break, Section Break, Next Page, and Section Break Continuous. Figure 3.53 section breaks are added using the Insert menu. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. If you want to view the section breaks as Figure 3.54 shows, go to the View menu and select Show Non-Printing Characters. The document will display a light blue dotted line where the section break is. Deleting a section is now easy because you can easily see the line. Simply place the cursor at the left of the line and press the Delete key on the keyboard. Note that section breaks must be deleted using the Delete key from the left in Docs. You cannot put your cursor to the right of the section break and use the backspace key to remove it. Summary pane is open, listing summary and outline. The first header is highlighted in blue font. In the document, blue dotted lines are seen below each header, indicating a section break. Figure 3.54 from the View menu, choose Show Non-Printing Characters to show the blue dotted lines where section breaks have been placed. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Page Setup. As in Word, the page setup commands are for selecting the paper size and orientation, horizontally or vertically. In Docs, it is all done from the File menu. Page Setup is near the bottom of the File menu. In Figure 355, you can see the options in the dialog box. The first combo box is for choosing whether to apply page setup to the whole document or just a section. You can also adjust the paper size. There is a combo box with popular paper sizes like letter and legal. Additionally, you can change the margins to create custom margins. You can also adjust the margins manually on the top of the window, using the mouse to move the margin markers on the ruler. Figure 356. Many of the page setup tools in Docs are straightforward and minimalistic. Google programs are intentionally designed to be user-friendly, and this is just one example of how easy it can be to make changes to your document. A page setup pane displays paper size options. Letter, tabloid, legal, statement, executive, folio, A3, A4, A5, B4, and B5. B page setup pane has letter selected in the paper size option. Figure 3. 55 margins are set in the page setup dialog box. A. These are the margins if you choose an executive size document. B. These are the margin sizes for the common letter type document. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. A ruler displays a blue arrow facing down, labeled "Move this arrow to the right to adjust margin," and labeled "Margins." The blue arrow aligns with the left margin of the document. Figure 356. You can also set margins by using the arrows in the ruler. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Link to learning. Docs also has numerous keyboard shortcuts that can help you perform tasks faster. These shortcuts are for font formatting, line spacing, indent formatting, making lists, applying styles, moving and resizing objects, and adding citations or comments. Docs can also be manipulated through the Alt commands to move around in the window menus. These Google Docs keyboard shortcuts can be found at Google's support page. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to use the Tools menu and collaboration functionality. Google Docs has many desirable features, but one of its biggest strengths as a word processing software program is its ability to facilitate collaboration among multiple users. People like to use Docs for the ease of sharing documents, tagging contacts, and inserting internet-enabled comments because these features make working together easy. Microsoft Office has these capabilities as well, but because Google is free to use, many people and small businesses prefer it. Nevertheless, many businesses use both because some features function better in one product and other features function better in the other. Google's collaboration features have been part of the apps from their inception. These features allow real-time edits to be seen by other users. In the early drafts of the Market Trends report, you will use Docs for collaboration because many in your department are more familiar with the collaborative features in Docs. In this section, you will take your Market Trends report and learn how to work on it with other employees at WorldCorp, getting them to insert and verify data that you need to complete your task. Real-world application. Recognizing collaborators. The collaborative power of applications today is unparalleled. Internet capabilities have spurred new ways of working together, and applications have incorporated these capabilities to provide collaborative features across a range of suites, including the two discussed in this textbook, Microsoft Office and Google Workspace. You can leverage not only the embedding capabilities across these suites, but you can also then create and modify these files and documents across individuals and teams. While ease in this collaboration is well established, less obvious is how to credit collaborators who are contributing to these files. Internet-enabled collaboration makes recognizing collaborators easier because user histories and versions can be tracked. Depending on the purpose of the document, you may or may not be listing its authors and contributors. It is important to follow your company's established protocol when identifying and recognizing collaborators formally. Regardless, one should always at a minimum recognize contributions informally. This may come in an email when presenting the file or verbally during a presentation. Tools menu and collaborating. The Tools menu options include spelling and grammar, citations, the Explore command, tools for reviewing changes in suggesting mode, and the dictionary. The Docs Tools menu contains some of the same tools that are found on the Review tab in Word. These are tools and commands to make your document professional and polished, as well as enable collaboration. These tools make collaboration between curators and co-editors possible, as everyone can review the suggestions and comments, tag others in the comments, and add citations and references. Spelling and grammar. Before sending or sharing any document in the workplace, you want to make sure it is as error-free as possible. You can do that by accessing the features of the spelling and grammar command in the Tools menu. The dialog box shown in Figure 3.57 has the same functionality and overall feel as Word, and it operates in the same way too, resolving each incident one by one. The words "the located" are highlighted orange in a document. Editing mode is selected with options for spelling and grammar and change the located to. A blue bubble displays what they located inside. Figure 3.57. The spelling and grammar checking tool in Docs is similar to Words. Always check that the suggestion is correct before accepting it. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. As in Word, Docs offers users the option to add words to a personal dictionary, so that they are not flagged as errors by the spell checker tool. To access the personal dictionary, go to the Tools tab and hover your cursor over the spelling and grammar command. In the drop-down menu that appears, select Personal Dictionary. You can manually add words to it from there. Citations and Explore. Citations are what give credit to sources. Sources should receive credit for contributing to your report, but citations are also vital to avoid plagiarism. Citations appear in many different kinds of documents, from educational papers to business plans. As you learned in navigating Google Docs, Google's Explore command is an automated feature that is used in conjunction with citations. Word has a similar command called Smart Lookup, but it only allows you to search the internet, not get auto-generated citations. Assume that you have a list of web pages that you used as the bibliography for your WorldCorp Market Trends report. Without automation, you would need to manually type in the website title, address, and date for each source you are citing, whether it is in a simple list at the bottom of the report, or as a footnote, or even in a separate document. With automation, that is, the Explore command, this task could become much less time-consuming. As you are writing the report, you can cite the source and have Docs do the formatting of the reference. You can cite the source either as a footnote or in the body of the text itself. Citing with footnotes is made easy with Docs. Just select a sentence or word and go to the Explore icon at the bottom of the page, Figure 3.58. An Explore button is shown in the bottom of a computer screen. Figure 3.58. The Explore button is a gateway to formatting references. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. A sidebar will appear where you can once again search for the source in a Google search, Figure 3.59. When you have found the reference, cite again, just use the Google search feature of citation formatting. An Explore pane is open. The search bar lists Sources, Laptops, United States. Below are 3 tabs: Web, Images, and Drive. The web results list below, Figure 3.59. The right side of the figure shows the references for the highlighted information. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Then click on Cite as footnote on the Google Search Explore sidebar, Figure 3.60. An Explore pane is open with Sources, Laptops, United States in the search. In the top right corner of the first web result, a quotation mark is labeled Cite as footnote, Figure 3.60. If you have a document that needs multiple sources formatted, the Cite as footnote will be a handy tool. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. The Explore tool automatically adds the citation on a footnote, using the citing format of the Manual of Style of your choice, Figure 3.61. A citation is shown at the bottom left of a document under a line and indicated with a small 1 that matches the information in the text of the document. Figure 3.61, using the Explore tool, lets you add citations rapidly. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Suggesting mode. When you share the Market Trends report with your colleagues for their input, you need to make sure that everyone's individual edits are captured in a clear way, similar to track changes in Word. The way to do this is through Suggesting mode, as the chapter on Essentials of Software Applications for Business introduced. To turn on Suggesting mode, go to the top right of the Docs window and look for the drop-down menu that says Editing. As you click on it, select Suggesting, as Figure 3.62 shows. In this mode, every time you add text, it will be surrounded with a bracket. If you delete something, the text will get a strike through. All of these changes will be accompanied by a comment box that shows a check or a cross. To accept the change, choose the check. To reject, choose the cross. The key to making sure your colleagues can make these suggested changes in the first place is to make sure they know to turn on suggesting mode when they begin working on the document. You can either inform your colleagues about this manually or share the document with them in comment-only mode by selecting Commenter when you share the document with them. A suggesting mode is open with options for editing, suggesting, viewing. B words highlighted in the document link to a comment box with image, name, time, date of comment, and the comment. Figure 3. 62A Google's version of track changes is called suggesting mode. B. When you make an edit to the document, you can also add comments to other users about the edit. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Reviewing suggested edits. You may want to create a document outlining the processes and workflow of the changes to your document, particularly if there are multiple people working on it. You may want your report to be edited in a certain order, perhaps with differing levels of access to the document, or you might want several people to work on it at the same time. In the end, because you are the person in charge of producing the report, you will likely want to review the overall result after all changes have been added by others, so that you can accept or reject all of the changes. This is where you will use the Tools menu's Review Suggested Edits command. If the document is filled with suggestions, it might be hard to read, so this feature is highly recommended as it simplifies the process of reviewing. As Figure 3.63 shows, the drop-down box will display the options of Preview Accept All or Preview Reject All. This is like the Track Changes feature combo box that says All Markup and No Markup. If you preview Accept All, you can see the document as if all the suggested edits were accepted. This will also make the document easier to read. If you are satisfied with the changes, then you can just select Accept All. In contrast, the Preview Reject All shows the original document before this version, without the current version's changes, and it doesn't show brackets or strike-throughs as well. This way, you can control whether the document is progressing properly or communicate with some collaborators if there is an issue with their additions or edits. Although this function is available, it is not advisable to simply accept or reject all suggested edits in the document. You should plan to review each suggested edit throughout the document and make the determination about the edits one by one. You can review the suggested edits individually by using the up and down arrows in the Review Suggested Edits tool in the Tools menu. Editing is visible in a Google Doc. Suggested Edits is selected with Show Suggested Edits. Forward and backward arrows are highlighted. At the right, Accept All and Reject All buttons are visible. Figure 3.63 As you work in suggesting mode, your changes are tracked and recorded. The font color changes for additions and strike-through is used to show deletions. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to access and use versioning features in Google Docs. Access and use versioning features in Microsoft Word. This section delves into a feature of Microsoft Word and Google Docs called versioning. Versioning refers to the technology where programs store multiple iterations of files until they are approved and saved. Essentially, several edited versions of the file are maintained on an online server, as well as the original document. Versioning technology can give you some peace of mind that your original document is saved somewhere, and that any changes will need to be accepted, approved, before the final document is saved. There are many user-friendly options in Docs' versioning, as you can clearly see all of the changes created within each version, as well as the timestamps for when each version was made. With this versioning technology, your team can edit a document simultaneously, and everyone will see the changes happening and what changes were made before you started working with the document. You will also see when other collaborators add or edit the text. This sharing of the views of the document adds accountability to the work on the final version of the document. It can be used to enhance communication about the rationale for suggestions when comments are used. In Word, there are fewer options for accessing and using version history features, but they do exist if you keep your documents stored on Microsoft's cloud service, OneDrive, or on a SharePoint server. When you are creating the Market Trends report, You will be sending the draft to key personnel in various departments to contribute to the report. Using these collaboration features will help as the document moves through each stage toward a final, accurate report. Versioning in Docs. With versioning, you no longer have to worry about losing your files if your laptop battery dies. You do not have to be concerned if your program suddenly shuts down before you had a chance to save that last paragraph you typed. Docs has a feature that, as long as you are connected to the internet, autosaves every change you make to the file. There is no save or save as command because Docs is constantly saving in Google Drive, which creates version histories. This version history can be accessed by going to the File menu, then hovering over Version History, then selecting See Version History. A sidebar will spring up to the right, as shown in Figure 3. 64, listing many versions of the file, each with a timestamp and the name of the person or people using it at the time it was saved. With this Docs feature, it is not necessary to save multiple drafts of the same document. An alternative way to access the version history is by clicking on the title bar that says Last Edit Was. Version history is selected, then see Version History. Version history pane lists all versions. Next to the Help button, a link for Last Edit Was 57 minutes ago opens Version History. Figure 3, 64, you can see the last edit of the document from Version History. You can also access Version History by clicking above the action bar. Version History is a Docs feature that lets you see all your little changes in a document writing process. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. To quickly see new changes in a file, Docs has a See New Changes alert. It appears where the date normally appears, next to the Help menu. If you select that, you'll be able to see the recent changes from other editors. Specifically, you will see all the changes that you haven't seen since the last time you opened the file. This functionality is useful for quickly and easily seeing changes from collaborators without having to access the version history. Real-world application. Is transparency always the right choice? Suggesting mode in Docs and track changes in Word serve the same purpose. Both help teams collaborate and share documents. These functions also help teams maintain accountability on the document's grammar, usage, style, guidelines, and subject matter inaccuracies or faults. Google automatically logs the chain of events of the addition or editing of text by time and collaborator, tracking who made each change and when they did it. Between the Suggesting Mode tool and Docs' version history, the person in charge of the document or team can monitor the progression of the document and increase the efficiency and speed of its completion. When sharing documents between a client and a vendor, there could be concerns about access to all the information in the document or the version history. Similarly, a supervisor might not want an employee to see the comments and edits in a document summarizing their job performance and proposed salary increase until they are ready to present it to the employee. That information might be important for the Human Resources Department to keep, but does not need to be shared with the employee. So, although suggesting mode and track changes can assist with transparency and accountability, it can also be problematic if information is shared to the wrong audience or before the document is ready to be shared with others. Now think about different circumstances in your life in which tracking changes and version history could be helpful, harmful, or both. How would you store your different versions? Browsing versions. In Docs, all these versions of the same file are organized by date, with the newest on top, Figure 365. The top version in the history is the most current and is open by default. You can check the date of the current version on the title bar, right beside the name of the file. You can check the name of the collaborator who made the edits by their name on the bottom of the timestamp, but also by the color of the circle next to the name, as each collaborator will have a different color circle. If multiple people worked on the file, their usernames will be listed below the timestamp, along with their color circle on the side. The changes on the versions themselves are shown in highlighted font, similar to the Track Changes feature in Word. But unlike Track Changes, each editor's changes will not be identified with a different color. Just the changes overall will be highlighted. If you want to find out who made the changes, hover the mouse above the text you want to query and the name of the collaborator will appear. If you don't want to look at this highlight as it may be distracting, go to the bottom of the sidebar and uncheck Show Changes. A sentence is highlighted. At right, a version history pane is open. All versions is selected and all edits made are listed with date, time, and person who made the edits. Figure 3. 65. You can check the date of the current version and the collaborator who made the edits. The changes are highlighted and show who made them. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. As you hover over the highlighted text, the writer's name is displayed. A box is checked for Show Changes. Figure 3. 66. If you want to find out who made the changes, make sure Show Changes option is checked so you can hover the mouse above the text you want to query. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Naming versions. In Docs, the versions do not have a name, they simply just show a time stamp. If you like a certain version and want to keep it for future reference, or if you want to save it because it shows the progress of the file, select that particular version and give it a specific name so that it's easy to find. Select the 3 dots next to the timestamp and a context menu will appear, from which you can choose to name this version, as shown in Figure 367. As you finish typing the name, the timestamp will still appear, yet above it will be the name of that version. This will keep track of the important changes in a collaboration. A. Versions of a document are displayed. One is highlighted and an option for name this version is selected. B. The selected version has been renamed to Marketing 4PS. Figure 367. A. Naming the version can be useful, as there are many steps and processes in completing a business report. B. Here, the business report happens to be on marketing, what are known as the 4PS. Product, price, place, and promotion. You may learn about these in the workplace. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. To name the current version, go to the File menu, then Version History, then name Current Version. Next, type the name of this version in the dialog box and click Save. After you finish your document, you might have named some of the versions, and you might just want to see only the named versions on the Version History sidebar. You can toggle the unidentified versions on and off on the top of the sidebar with the option Only Show Named Versions, as you can see in Figure 368. Version History displays and Only Show Named Versions is selected. A version 2 May 6, 10:38 p.m. Rick Argello and Marketing 4PS May 6, 7:37 p.m. Rick Argello is displayed. Figure 3. 68. The named versions might be the most important or relevant ones. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Making a copy of a version. To make a copy of a version, you will also use the context menu for the specific version. The menu has the option to make a copy, in which you can make a new separate file from this document. It is like Save As in Word, in which you can save a version with a different file name. If you use the Name This Version command, you will not create a separate file. It will still be the same document. However, it may be better in some situations to have separate files with descriptive names to them, as you would with different saved Word versions of a document. Many companies have file naming conventions to help them keep track of versions, such as project hash document name, ver hash, followed by the initials of the collaborators who made the changes, e.g. WC05 Market Trends Report ver 1AC. Having copies of the same file, but as different versions, is an option if you want to download these versions to your business's computer desktop or hard drive, instead of keeping them online. Having a different version can also be useful if you want to send this version to a client or any third party. When a copy is made of any version of a document, it is saved as a new doc without the version history attached to it. The comments and suggestions are also not copied. You might find that at some point you would like to preserve some content from an older version, but not the whole document. In this case, you can go to the older version and look for the information that you want to keep, then right-click to show the context menu and select Copy. Then go to the newest version and place the cursor where you want the recovered paragraphs to be, and right-click to the context menu Paste. This will keep your newest version while adding the older paragraphs. In addition to saving a copy by the context menu of the 3 dots, there are other commands available in the list of versions. Right on top of the window of each version, there are 2 different commands you can choose from: Zoom in and Print, as shown in Figure 369. Some people like to have hard copies of versions of documents for archiving purposes. A date and time and Restore this version button are visible. Print is located on the toolbar. A label states you can zoom or print any version, Total 8 edits is visible, figure 3. 69 When browsing versions, you can always print a version you want save. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Restoring versions. There may be instances when you want to revert to a previous version of the document. This is called version restore. This could occur for a variety of reasons. For example, you might realize some key information that is now needed was in a previous iteration of the document. Your team could also agree that a previous version might be preferred after additional edits are made. This feature of versioning in Docs can offer you some assurance that even if a document has gone through several stages, the previous work on the document is not lost and can be accessed through Restore. On the main window, where the versions are being read, there is a notification on the top right corner displaying the number of edits of that particular session, as figure 370 shows. Next to the number of edits are 2 arrows. These are toggles for viewing the session changes. The first change of the May 19 p.m. session was to change the date of the marketing report. You can also restore a version without having it on the main window display by selecting the 3 dots beside the version and selecting Restore this version. The newer version will not be the current version anymore as the older version now supersedes it. A. Total 8 edits displays. B. Edit 1 of 8 displays next to up-down arrows labeled. Toggle from one change to the next. In the document, a cursor with a name displays. Figure 370A. Google keeps track of the number of edits in the document, as you can see on the top right. B. You can use the arrows to move through the edits to determine if you want to keep the changes. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. If after reviewing each change, you decide that one of the older versions is better than the current one, you can select the large Restore this version button at the top of the window, figure 371. A Restore this version button displays with label. After rechecking changes, you can restore this version using this button. An editor's name is highlighted and labeled, Final change in this session, figure 371. Google gives you the option also to restore the document to a previous version. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. Keep in mind that the number of versions displayed on the sidebar does not show all the versions available. If you go to the sidebar, you'll see that the timestamps are typically a certain length of time apart, as you can see in figure 372. That means that there are hidden versions from when the editing was taking place. Each version has many changes that were happening seconds or minutes apart. You can access these micro changes in each session by clicking on the triangle on the left of the version. A document version is highlighted and Restore this version is selected. B. A version list displays one version highlighted and a Show Changes button selected. Figure 372A. The versions are both time and date stamped. B. You can restore to a particular version, make a copy of the version, or rename the version. Google Docs is a trademark of Google LLC. To quickly see new changes in a file, Docs has a See New Changes alert. It appears where the date normally appears, next to the Help menu. If you select that, you'll be able to see the recent changes from other editors. Specifically, you will see all the changes that you haven't seen since the last time you opened the file. This functionality is useful for quickly and easily seeing changes from collaborators without having to access the version history. Versioning in Microsoft Word. Microsoft Office has many options for accessing version histories, but can be done only if the file is stored in OneDrive or SharePoint. Figure 373. An info screen displays a document with categories for Protect Document, Inspect Document, Version History, and Manage Document. Properties of the document are listed such as size, pages, etc. Figure 373. The version history in Microsoft Word Desktop is activated if the document is located in OneDrive. Used with permission from Microsoft. If you have a desktop version of Word, you have to sign in to your Microsoft account. You will be able to access the last 25 versions of your file on OneDrive, that is, if your file is stored on OneDrive, as you can see in figure 374. A Word doc is shown. An open pane displays the version history, listing dates, time, and editors. If the version is open, Open Version is listed in blue font. Figure 374. When you choose Version History from Info, you will see a pane open on the right side of the document with the versions that are saved. Used with permission from Microsoft. You can access your version histories in Word by going to the File tab and selecting History. If you have a Microsoft 365 Word subscription, you can access the version history by going to the File tab, then Info, followed by Version History. There you can see the versions available and browse through them. You can also choose to restore a previous version as Figure 375 shows. Moreover, if you have SharePoint Server or SharePoint 365, the possibilities of versioning are much more powerful, allowing as many as 500 versions to be retained, as you can track a version's history, view multiple earlier iterations, determine who can edit or write on the files, control the number of versions stored, and more. A. Info window selects Open in Desktop app. B. A blank screen displays select a version from the Version History pane. Version History pane highlights a just now current version. Figure 375. A. Microsoft 365 also has version history that is also accessed through the File tab. B. Select a version from the pane on the right to see that version of the document. Used with permission from Microsoft. Link to learning. SharePoint is more pliable than Google Drive, but it is not free. Unless your company is paying for a corporate license, you would need to pay a fee per month per user for the standard version, Plan 1, and you would need to have the desktop Microsoft 365. The current plans are priced between $5 and $23 per month. Visit the Microsoft page comparing SharePoint plan options for more information. If you want the Microsoft 365 applications integrated with SharePoint, you should choose Office 365 E3. This article gives you an idea of the additional capabilities SharePoint has and how users can benefit from versioning.